Good morning and welcome. This is Dubs, your host. Welcome to Dubs, the Angry Black Conservative. Want to say hello to everybody who hasn't been with me for a while. Had some really good feedback. I appreciate it. And I want to jump right into this. I'm a little frosted today, so this one's going to be a little on the weird side. It's not a normal one that I would do. I'm really angry about something, and I really need I'm just going to sound off a little bit. I'm probably going to be a little all over the place today, and I apologize beforehand. But I got to tell you, I try to be very rational. I try to be very calm. I try to be very logical when I'm doing one of these, and I try to do a lot of research and stuff just to make sure that I'm factual and things that I'm saying are based in fact. But I really need to this whole. I'm going to try and calm down here, but I got to tell you, I haven't been this frosted about something in a long time. The anti-racism stuff. I don't know how to properly. I don't know how to properly talk about it. I did something before, and I've alluded to some things, and I've said some things before to you guys. But I want to be really clear about this whole situation. The racism thing is the fuel that is propelling all of the bad stuff that's happening in our country. All the divisiveness, however you want to say it. When you are able to call another person a racist, it's one of the ugliest things you can call somebody. It really is. I know you can call somebody a pedophile. You can call somebody a rapist. Those are up there. But when you call someone a racist, you are basically calling that person evil. And if you are calling someone evil, you better darn well make sure that you are correct in what you are saying about that individual. There can be no doubts at all that what you're saying about that guy walking down the street that you just called a racist has got to be 100% factually accurate. It is not something that you can just casually call another human being. And my argument about the racism thing, I don't know what's in anyone's heart or in anyone's head. The only person who I know what's in their heart and in their head is me. That's it. Your friend Dubs, I can tell you what Dubs is thinking. I can tell you what he's feeling. I can tell you his emotional state, and I can tell you what his mental state is. That's it. Anyone else walking the planet, I have to go by what they have said and, more importantly, what they have done in their past. Then I can tell you, based on the information I have about that guy walking down the street, and let's call him my favorite everyday man, Joey Blomitz. I can tell you that Joey Blomitz, based on the 15 years that I have known him, he has gone to cross burnings. He has said horrible things about brown-skinned people, or he's said horrible things about Irish people, or he has said horrible things about Greek people, or he has gone to museums and he has cut up all the documents that you can about slavery or about the Irish coming in on the for those of you who don't know about the potato famine and so on and so forth, saying that was all trumped up and everything else. That Joey Blount, now I can call that dude a racist, because not only does he say things that are filled with hate, he has done things that are filled with hate. There's a guy walking down the street right now who has done nothing but terrorize Indian families. And every time he comes across one that's by themselves, he beats them up. he tries to sexually assault their women for no reason other than because he doesn't like Indian people. That dude's a racist against Indians. That's all there is to it. I've got proof now. Here we go. Bang. Done. He said this and he has done this. That dude's a racist. All right, cool. Now we're good. Thanks, Dubs. Appreciate it. If I can't say those things specifically about that individual, then I cannot call that individual a racist. And the fact that we have people calling other human beings racist because they disagree about a policy, that's not strong enough. That doesn't pass the smell. That's not enough. Tell me what that person did. Now you're going to say, hey, you know what, Dubs, you're defending Trump again. No, I don't have to defend Trump. I don't think it's necessary for me to defend anyone about being a racist. And the reason why is because if you believe that somebody is a racist based on a difference in a disagreement in policy, well, then you're a fool. And I'm not going to have that conversation with you. If you believe that Joey Blomwitz is a racist and you have no proof to back it up, it is a waste of my time to try and talk to you and tell you, no, they're not a racist because they haven't done anything that I would consider racist. So to call, you got this dude, and I try not to name people, but Ibram X. Kendi, who this individual went on CNN and basically said that every white person is a racist. And to say that, and when you say that you are not a racist, you are in fact showing how racist you are. Now think of how that argument goes. There's a dude out there right now who's done has done fantastic things for himself and his life, his family, his friends, regardless of their race, color, creed, the whole deal, and everything else. And he is now a racist just because the amount of melanin in his skin is not enough. And so I would ask the simple question: how much melanin do you have to have in your skin, or pardon me, how little melanin do you have to have in your skin to be considered white? I need to know the rules. I need to understand the qualifications of someone who is white. Is someone from Sweden white? Is someone from England white? Someone from Ireland white? Someone from Greenland white? Someone from Canada white? Give me that shade, those swatches of colors, so I can figure out whether or not, based on your definition, because they're white, they're racist. I need to know whether or not that person is a white person or not. I just need to know. You got light-skinned black people out there right now. I know guys that are Mediterranean who are darker than some of the black people I know. Do they count as white? Give me the guidelines on calling an entire group of people a despicable name. I just need to know, so that I can understand where you're coming from when we're having these conversations. I just need to know. I'll give you another one. Let's say, and I say this with all due respect, there are numerous events that are racially motivated that are absolutely despicable. And the people who are involved in those acts are despicable people. And I would hold those people responsible for what they said and what they did. And I got no issue with that at all. However, what happened after those despicable events? So this country, the freest country in the world, this country that says to everyone, Go ahead and, you can do what you want to do, say what you want to say, as long as it does not essentially, physically harm another person or does not impinge on their freedoms. So if I walk around saying all day long that I hate Italians and so on and so forth, have I broken the law? And the answer is no, I have not broken the law. There is no law against racism in this country. Frankly, your freedoms that are written out, spelled out, and defined in the Constitution that is supposed to be defended by the federal government states that you can have that attitude if you want to have that attitude. You want to hate somebody? Go ahead and hate them. I don't care. I just don't care. What I care about is, are you following the law? And the law means that if I go into your restaurant and I order food, that you don't spit in it because I'm black. That's what I want. You go home, you want to hate black people, go right ahead and hate them. I don't care. I don't live with you. I don't have to deal with you. I don't have to speak to you. I don't have to do anything with you. Guess why? Because in this country, I have the freedom to choose. If that person wants to be a racist, go ahead and let them be a racist. They want to write a book, go ahead and write a book. Find a publisher. There will be publishers out there that are more than willing to publish racist books for racist people to read. Go ahead and let them. I don't care. How does that affect me? It only affects me when that person starts to impinge on my freedoms. They try to assault me. They try to attack me. They try to attack my family, my friends, my business. Now we got a problem. But let me ask you this question, and I'm going to throw a figure at you that I always talk about when I get into this racism argument with people. I'm going to throw this figure at you. I throw this figure at these people, and normally they have nothing to say. They didn't even know about it. But let me just ask you this: you have a business, you sell widgets. A white man who hates you, you're a black business owner. A white man that hates black people firebombs your business. Your business burns down to the ground. Now your business is gone. The other half of the equation, you're a black business owner. You have a couple of black dudes that are out one night and they decide that for whatever reason, whether for amusement, enjoyment, just because it's there or because they don't like that you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, they burn your business down to the ground. Let me ask you a question. The next morning, does it matter whether or not they hated you or they didn't hate you? The answer is no. The fact of the matter is your business has just been burned down to the ground. It doesn't make it any better for me that it was burned down by two black guys. The end result is that my business is gone. I don't care why they did it. The point is that they did it. Now I got to rebuild my business or do what I've got to do to take care of what I've got to take care of. So let me ask you this. You can sit and you can talk about all these different racially motivated attacks that have happened in this country. We like to talk about the black ones, but there's been Jewish ones, there's been Indian ones, there's been Hindu ones and everything else. And unfortunately, is that, when you have a free country, when you have the ability to go out and do things, you're going to have some people who are going to choose to do bad things. And that's when we've got to take care of things, and we've got to take care of things legally. We have to be able to go to court. We have to be able to defend ourselves. If the average response time for the police department in an urban area is 7 to 11 minutes, then for 7 to 11 minutes, you need to be able to defend yourself. Please do not take away my Second Amendment right. Please do not water down my Second Amendment right. Please do not regulate or overly regulate my Second Amendment right to the extent of which it's no longer a Second Amendment right, it's just gone. Please don't do that, because there are times where I'm going to need to defend myself. And if I have a firearm and somebody's coming at me with a knife, I don't care that it's an unequal fight. I don't care. I'm shooting him. He's done. That's it. And then I'll go have a cheesesteak and a 7-Up, and I won't think a second thought of him, because if he gets past me, he gets to my family. My responsibility in life, take care of my family. He's done. Oh, well, he shouldn't have come in my house. I didn't give him permission. I don't care at that point what color he is, what race he is, what creed he is, or for my LGBTQ people, what gender he is. I don't care. All I know is that there's somebody in my home with a knife without my permission. Oh, well. Shouldn't have been there. He's gone. Done. Now, if the police are there, I'll go ahead and let the police take care of it. But for those 7 to 10 minutes, what other option do I have? I certainly can't engage him in a conversation. Excuse me, sir. What in your life has made you come to this decision where you're going to bring a knife into my home to potentially hurt me or my family? Did you have a bad childhood? Did your father beat you too much? Did your mother not love you enough? No, he's done. And if somebody says, that was a racial killing because he was this and that, I don't want to hear it. You chose to do something that was stupid, and unfortunately now you paid the ultimate price. You know what you shouldn't have done? You shouldn't have woke up that morning and grabbed a knife and come into my home. But in any case, we had a civil war in this country. Depending on whose numbers you want to look at, and I like to use the Civil War Trust. And the reason why I like to use the Civil War Trust is because they just do a ton of research. They're constantly doing research. They're constantly gathering new information, and based on that new information, they then are able to change or modify their findings. They're really good people there. So based on their numbers, the Civil War Trust, about 620,000 people were casualties in the Civil War. 620,000 people. Now, I've seen estimates that are as high as 900,000. And the reason why I've seen estimates as high as 900, that's not from the Civil War Trust, by the way. But I've read articles, I've read books where authors have said it's probably closer to 900,000. And the reason why is because the damage that's done to the human body is such that at that time with the weapons that they were using, pretty much makes it almost impossible to put the human body back together again to give good numbers and stuff. So that, and then guys who died of disease later on, who went, they had gangrene or whatever, they went home and they were able to survive for a little bit and then died, or guys who died of disease just because, it was just rampant in the camps and so on and so forth. I mean, there's a really neat story that you can tell when an army was waking up, because the first thing you would hear is the entire army camp would be coughing in the morning, to get all that mucus and stuff out of their lungs and everything. The Civil War was just a brutal affair. There's just no way. The brutality of the fighting and stuff. They say war is hell, and all wars are horrible and terrible and everything else. The Civil War was just massive because you had so many different battles where tens of thousands of men died. But in any case, why am I bringing up the Civil War again? Because I always bring up the Civil War, and I know I bring up the Civil War all the time. And the reason why I bring up the Civil War a lot is because I'm trying to think to myself, who fought in that war? Again, I bring up Ibram Kendi. All white people are racist. So that means that on the northern side, all we had fighting were Negro troops, because based on people like him and that attitude, and all the white people were racist and stuff. So they certainly wouldn't go to war to free black people. That would be silly. Why would they put their own lives on the line? Why would they open themselves up for amputation and disease and being away from their families and death and mutilation and all the other, pravities that happen with war? Why would they do that? So clearly that's not the case. So some of them white boys had to not be racist in order to fight for the North. Here's another figure, and again, I like to put this. So killed, wounded, captured, or missing in the North for the Civil War, 596,670. I'll say it again, 596,670. They all were not Negroes. Predominantly, they were mostly white people. So what do we say about those guys? Or what do we say about the people who supported them? Because, when you have war, it's not just about the guys who are in the field. It's all the administrative stuff. Got to get them the weapons. You got to get the medical. You've got to get the guys who are sewing and guys who are building all the machines of war and everything else. Were those people racist as well? There were white people involved in that, I would assume. Because most of the black people were in bondage. So you had to have some white people doing that stuff at least. It had to be at least 10, 15 of them, right? This notion that white people, by dint of birth, are racist is disgusting. The fact that there's a book out there now, it's called the Antiracist Baby, where we are injecting race into children who don't even recognize race. They don't have the mental ability to think of race when they're 2. That's taught to them. And you've got a book out there that is explaining to these white babies that they are born racist and they must do things to keep themselves from not being racist. They must be anti-racist. It is not only absurd, it is not only insulting, it is disgusting. And anyone who buys that book, I would love to have a conversation with you so you can tell me how a 3-year-old knows that black 3-year-old is a black 3-year-old and that he should not hate him because he's black. How would that thought even come into that kid's mind? I was once, and this is pretty much because I know it's not my normal thing. I normally don't get on here and rant, but my God, I'm just frosted about this. I have a corporate job, and we're on a conference call. And there is, on this conference call, one of the guys is, one of the gentlemen who's talking is in an interracial relationship. And he says that he and his wife have taught their children to not see color, but to see the person. Which, by the way, there was this dude, and I can't remember his name. I always forget him. He was made famous in the 50s and the 60s. Black preacher. I think his name was Martin Luther King or something like that. I can't remember. He not a very relevant individual, small time kind of guy. You might be able to Google him and find a couple of magazine articles about him. But he said this thing. He was in, I think he was in Washington or something like that. He gave like this little speech and stuff like that. And one of the things that he said is that one of his hopes is that his children will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Something like that. Something like that. So here's a guy who's married to a woman of a different race. He brings up his kids to not see race, and he's talking about it. And then some meatball who's on the conference call says that he is insulted that this person and his wife bring up their children to not see color, because if you don't see color, you don't see me because I'm a colored man. That's an absolute stupid sentiment. And then what was made even worse is that the gentleman who was talking about his kids and stuff, he actually apologized to the meatball who was insulted. What he should have said to that meatball is, "You're just stupid." Because that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to tell people we need to judge each other by what we say, and more importantly, by what we do, not what we look like. Yet he's got to apologize for it. If that were me, that would have been I'm telling you what, that call would have taken a completely different turn. It would have turned into something else, I'll tell you that. We need to start judging each other by what we say and what we do. This whole thing where all white people are this, all black people are this, is ridiculous. Tell me what that person said. Tell me what that person did. And I'm not going to, I try not to, interject the Trump thing to this, but if you could tell me the racist policies that Trump put forth and why those are racist policies, I'm willing to talk to you. But it seems to me that the policies that Trump put forth were overarchingly beneficial to brown-skinned people in this country. Just get the numbers and they'll show you. And you say, well, at the end of 2020, but you know what happened in 2020? We had a pandemic and you had a bunch of governors overstep their bounds, and then and then tell people that they could not open their business. And now we're shocked that the unemployment is going up? Please, I don't want to hear it. This is a stupid conversation. It's a stupid conversation. The federal government was doing fine. All I know is that if we continue to rip each other to shreds, if we continue to destroy each other, we're going to have a huge, huge problem in this country. I do not want civil war. I do not want violence. I do not want to see people dying in the streets because of policies and politics. I'm a Trump supporter. Well, I'm a Biden supporter. Well, we've got to go kill each other. No, we don't. Let's talk about stuff. Let's talk in a rational, logical way without calling each other names, without threatening people's jobs, without closing people's businesses, without censoring them. There's a better way, people. There's just a better way. And I don't understand how we have so many people on one side of the aisle who are willing to say the most vicious things about people on the other side of the aisle. And then when those people on that side of the aisle start getting upset, start pushing back, now suddenly we're the bad ones. The fact that they started saying during the Supreme Court nominating process that when Kavanaugh made that speech and he was visibly emotionally upset, he was visibly emotionally compromised, they started saying that, well, he doesn't have the proper temperament to be a Supreme Court justice. The man was being called a rapist. He was called a racist. His children were being viciously attacked in the press. His wife was. His college career was being attacked. His students were being attacked. He was being attacked by other students and people he'd known for decades. Yeah, he's going to be emotionally compromised, and so would the average person. And the fact that he didn't carry a baseball bat in there and start whacking people shows that dude's got a serious amount of self-control. Because most of us under that kind of pressure would have broken. I don't care if you're a fan of Kavanaugh or not, but you can clearly see that what happened to that man was an absolute disgrace. He'd never had any issues before. There were never any problems with him before. Federal judge, the whole deal. There was never any problems with him before. He'd been vetted by the FBI 3 times before that. They never found anything. And then one person comes forward with 0 evidence. Hey, oh, well, you know what, Dubs, you say the same thing about the vote. No, on the vote, we've got signed affidavits by thousands of people. We've got video footage. We've got pictures. We've got the votes themselves. There's plenty of evidence. They just never let it be seen in court. This woman, Blasey Ford, she got to be heard, and every single one of the witnesses that she talked about recanted their stories. There is 0 evidence other than her saying that, well, he sexually assaulted me when he was 17. Guy's in his 50s, his 60s. Are you kidding me? Something decades old? Are you kidding me? No, I don't want to hear it. So this whole thing, this whole racism thing, I'm telling you, and I'm going to go into a deeper dive on this on another show, but my God, people, you got to rein it in. This is getting ridiculous. Our children are at stake. The country is at stake. You got to wake up, knock this nonsense off. Let's have rational dialogue without calling each other names, and let's talk about things that are beneficial for the country. Then you go ahead and live your life the way you want to live your life. That's the beauty of this country. We've got freedoms here. That's why every other country, people in all these other countries are killing themselves, literally, to get to this country. There's no huge exodus of Americans out of the country. My God, you've got the Hollywood guys who say, if this person gets elected, I'm leaving the country. The person gets elected, they don't seem to leave. Enough. I'm done with it. Sorry I yelled and screamed. I just had to get that one off my chest. I'll be back in a few days, guys. You take care of yourself. This is Dubs. I'm signing off. Thanks for playing along.